don't care who you wanna ship. We're gonna read your fic and we're gonna give it shipwrecked.
Welcome to this week's episode of Shipwrecked, and we are your hosts. I'm Chris.
I'm Taneene.
I'm Ryan.
And this week we're going to be investigating the wonderful fandom of Gossip Girl. Not the books, though. Just.
Wait, there are books?
I don't think people know there's books.
People do know there's books. She was a best-selling author. That's why they made the show.
Literally
Really?
everything's a best-selling book,
Okay,
though.
yeah, you're right. Because, like,
You can scam your way to the top of that list for sure.
all right, this is about the show. So yeah, let's talk about how we got introduced to Gossip Girl. Teen, would you like to go first?
I would love to go first because I don't know what Gossip Girl is like as an entity. I seriously, here's how little I know about Gossip Girl. The other day I was I had to like send an email to this guy I worked with, and I was like, oh, his name is Chuck. I was like, is his last name Bass? And then I was like, or Bass or whatever. And then I was like, I don't think that's his last name. And then it took me 20 minutes to think about like whether or not that was an actor or a character's name. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. That's way too much thought that I'm putting into this process about Gossip Girl. So here's what I know about Gossip Girl. Chuck Bass is a concept. He's either a character or an actor. I'm not sure.
Actually, that's the most accurate description of Chuck Bass I've heard. Chuck Bass is a concept. Yeah.
Penn Badgley is a thing because, and here's why I know, it's because Jennifer Aniston makes a joke about him in Horrible Bosses. She says, I stayed up all night watching Gossip Girl. I fingered myself so hard to that Penn Badgley kid, I almost broke a nail. And I was like, oh, okay, great, Penn Badgley. Don't know if that's a character or an actor still because they all have very generic, like, East Coast names. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah.
Through Ryan, I am understanding that Blake Lively is on that, which thankfully I do know she's an actress. Otherwise, I would still be like, I don't know. Is she an actress? Is that a character? So, and as I was reading the fics in preparation, I saw a word that had actually evaded me for years. I mean, not evaded me. It's gone from my memory, and it was brought roaring back all of a sudden. Spotted, and I was like, oh yeah, that was a thing that I would see occasionally, but never really took the time to observe. So, spotted is a word that occurs in the Gossip Girl universe.
You are
it's a
right.
word.
That's bingo. Wow.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
So here's what I know. XOXO Gossip Girl is a thing. And then, okay, so I don't know if I'm mixing it up with Pretty Little Liars or not, but like there's like a thing, there's like a conspiracy, someone sends some sort of like emails or text, like it's a verb, like it's like written down. No one's like calling and leaving voicemails. It always ends with XOXO Gossip Girl, but I don't know necessarily what these messages are related to. And again, this is where I'm thinking I'm mixing it up with Pretty Little Liars, that eventually Gossip Girl is revealed to be a man the whole time, and then everyone felt really betrayed.
No, it's
but
true.
I think
Welcome to the spoilers.
That's true.
Oh,
This is
shit.
true.
So I knew
warnings
that.
for the whole show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, so then that's that. And then there are a lot of eyebrows. Like, I just remember
Yes.
everyone's eyebrows.
Very
Yeah.
true. Astute
Real-
observation, Taneene.
They do all
Real
have really
robust.
strong eyebrows.
Yeah. They really
Very
are a
robust,
strong,
yet refined.
strong eyebrow show.
Yeah. So then, and then that's where my knowledge of Gossip Girl absolutely fizzles out.
That's kind of where I wish mine would fizzle out.
You know what? I think that you really get some points for effort there. Nothing you said was straight up wrong. So
Honestly, that's more than I knew about the show before I started a few months ago.
So why did you start watching the show, Ryan?
Because I was picking up crocheting again and needed something to watch.
Uh-huh.
I love it.
And who suggested that you watch the show? Gosh.
It was Chris.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Told me to watch this. Chris, this is your fault.
I know.
It's bad. So yeah, I started watching.
Sighs and looks away.
That's actually exactly what happened. Because the thing that some people know about me is I get very heated about Gossip Girl.
That some people know, as in us. We know that.
As in, yeah, just you two and all of our listeners.
He's been riled up like all week on the group chat. Like,
I've been,
Really rough.
I've been firing off. I get really upset, mainly because the show just ended so poorly. Because you can sum it up as Gossip Girl is the story of a young writer, a very talented writer, who was just in the pursuit of cleavage.
this is not what I thought the show would be about.
It's not what anyone thought, but it just writes the two people together. The whole
Ooh,
show.
which two?
even though-
Can you
So
please
Dan and
clear-
Serena.
Side boob.
Yes.
Side boob.
Actually,
Side
So Blake Lively.
hang on.
Yep.
So yeah,
Before-
Blake Lively is Serena in the show.
Before you jump into this, can you give me a quick rundown of who is an actor and who is a character?
Yes.
Because that's gonna really
I
drive me
will only give
insane.
character name. Yes, I'm only giving character names.
Okay.
Okay.
And so Blake Lively is Serena,
Okay.
and I don't actually know any of the other actor names.
And then Chuck Bass is a character, and he's pretty much the only reason to watch the show.
yeah,
Is he the eyebrow boy?
Yeah, probably.
Like,
Probably.
you know, like he could be like in Dave Franco's eyebrows and his eyebrows, like
Yeah. So
like, on the
unfortunately, this actor who plays Chuck Bass recently got accused of rape in the whole the
Me Too moment.
the Me Too. So he got Me Too'd pretty hard, and he's currently being investigated by the LAPD. So
Who's the
Yeah.
actor?
Ed
Oh,
Westwick.
it's- There
Ed
you go.
Westwick.
British
Yeah,
guy,
see,
actually.
if you had told me that Ed Westwick was on that show, I would have been like, oh, yeah, that sounds like a character who lives in, like, Soho.
Yep.
Right.
Because they live in New York, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
They do.
Upper East
Another
Side.
thing I knew.
Yeah. Upper East Siders.
Gross.
I think the show is Dan, who's supposed to be the everyman writer.
Yes, that's Penn
So, like,
Badgley.
His
That's
name is
congratulations.
Dan?
His name is
Dan.
Dan Humphrey.
Dan Humphrey, and they like
Gross! What? They should have just swapped his name out.
Okay,
Just
but
think-
in the books, it's also Dan Humphrey. Like they kept that
No,
shit
no, they should have
consistent.
been like, oh, your name is much cooler. Your character's
Yes.
name is Penn Badgley now, but you have to legally change your name to Dan Humphreys. Good luck getting a job.
They should have.
yeah, and like a thing about the show is one of his main character points is how poor he is and their family. But it's like they have a big loft in Manhattan.
In Brooklyn.
And they're-
In Brooklyn.
in Brooklyn, sorry, in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And their dad owns an art gallery.
Yeah.
This is like, you remember in Pretty in Pink where she's like, I'm poor. And I was like, you have a car and a house. Like,
Yeah.
maybe shut up.
Yeah. And also like when we watch the Princess Diaries and like they're like, oh man, like I'm poor, la la la, and she's living in that like super nice loft in the Bay Area.
No, she didn't live in a loft. She lived in an old firehouse, which must have been even more expensive. Was it?
Yeah.
She never was upset about money, though, right? Like her
Doesn't-
mom,
I don't know.
the mom.
All I know is
You know
her
what?
mom's art cannot afford that place.
Absolutely. I think Mr.
Absolutely.
Robitussin was
Mr.
subsidized.
Mr. Robitussin was for sure subsidizing the shit out of that.
Rent control, $30 a month.
Okay. So anyway, go back to Dan Humphrey, character.
So, yeah,
actor
Dan
for
Humphrey.
Taneene. Yeah.
He just has so many better pairings in the show besides Serena.
Namely Blair Waldorf.
Yeah, Blair Waldorf is by far the best one, but they even threw in a different one at the end, which also could have worked. But the entire show is just
Well,
him
who's the
saying-
person at the end? I gotta know. Now I'm invested.
her name's Nellie Yuki. She was a minor character in the start.
She's one of the only non-white characters in the show.
Yeah, it's the token Asian girl.
Yeah. And they would have been a
but-
hot couple for sure, but
It would have been really good. There's a lot of couples Dan was in that were built on like mutual respect and support,
including Hilary Duff.
including Hilary Duff, mainly Hilary Duff.
Shut up.
No.
Wait,
It was
hang on.
weird.
So in this scenario, is Hilary Duff also her character's name? Like, was she playing herself?
No, I
No,
don't
but
remember
she
her
was a movie
character's name,
actress.
but she was a movie. She was playing herself.
Olivia
Olivia
Olivia Duff.
Duff.
Olivia, basically.
Even she wasn't that great, but even she was better.
It was
than
only
Serena 'cause-
awkward because then they ended up having that three-way with Vanessa, who is arguably the worst character in the show.
Yeah. So Vanessa is Dan's childhood friend.
Yep.
And has probably the worst hair in the whole show.
Ryan, what's your name for Vanessa?
Middle part, because she always has a middle part.
The middle part's coming back. Okay.
Yeah.
It's never coming back because it was never in.
Not on Vanessa though. And
Not for Vanessa,
and
please
fun
God.
fact, Vanessa and Chuck in real life dated, though they never dated on the show, but they did fuck on the show.
This is
Most
very
people-
complicated.
Yeah.
It's a very complicated show. It's a lot of gossip
And a lot of girls.
Yeah.
and a lot of girls.
XOXO.
But like the three main characters of the show are Serena, Blair, and Dan. They're the only three characters that are in every single episode of the show.
Much
I
like
didn't actually know that.
R2D2 and C3PO.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing about Serena is she's an awful character who never gets any character development.
She's the worst.
But still,
Yep.
the show, it pretends like she's the best thing to ever happen to Dan, and she's like the green light that he keeps reaching for. But she's like always there, but never gets her. But it's like every situation she's in, she makes the worst decision, and then she never learns. Even the token whimsical youth, Jenny, who is Dan's little sister, eventually she learns, and it was her character to mess up badly. But no, it's Serena. Like, for my biggest time is there was a major plot point where Serena's birth dad came back, and it turned out that he'd been poisoning their mom so that he could look after the family. And that came out. And then Serena was just like, why would you call the police on my dad? That's my dad.
Even
Who
though
has
he'd
been poisoning my mom for a month.
Yeah. It was dark, to be honest.
It was dark. And then she just pretends like it's okay. Like he's a major character for the rest of the show.
I don't know.
It's just
She's just
stuff like that.
always
over and
annoying.
over. Her only redeeming quality is her cleavage. I'll say it till I die. That's all that she has going for her because her personality is just terrible.
And her cleavage is largely side boob, to be honest.
Yeah.
The best part of watching the show is just watching Dan check out Serena when he's definitely
Oh my
not
God.
supposed to be. Like, it's definitely not scripted for him to be checking out Serena, and he's just like looking at her cleavage like, can't stop, won't stop, not sure how to stop.
It's the favorite part of whenever you're watching Dan and Serena, you just look at his eyes. I was just in character.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
But the other, like, arguably, so Chuck Bass is the best character in the show. He is actually a minor character in the books, but they make him a major character in the show because he's Blair Waldorf's love interest. And Blair Waldorf is actually a really interesting character.
Yeah, I like her a lot.
I think she's like a nightmare person, but
She also had character development.
yeah, and they've also like stylized it so like Blair in the show deeply relates to like Audrey Hepburn, and like she has all the, like
I never want to see another fucking white girl be obsessed with old movie actresses in media ever again. I don't want to see it anymore. I'm tired. I'm
Okay.
fucking tired.
that's valid.
I'm tired of La La Land. I'm tired of this goddamn shit.
I know.
It's upsetting.
To be fair, I was about to say, I never listened to La La Land. I never watched La La Land.
Don't do it.
I saw it was like, do I really want to watch Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone in a musical? Hell no.
You don't.
It's like, you can pitch that to me. There's just no, unless that musical was about like,
No, there is nothing. There's absolutely nothing. There's nothing. Do you want a better experience than going to La La Land? Drink a bottle of Epicac.
Okay.
Honestly,
Okay.
just puke your guts out for 2 or 3 days, possibly sustain brain damage. Don't watch La La Land.
it sounds,
Garbage.
It sounds right.
Oh my god. I'm not even going to go into it. I would rather have Ryan have his, strong opinions about the show that this actual episode is themed about than me on about this garbage.
About this garbage
Before
movie.
that goes.
So,
Oh man, where was I?
I don't know. I've been trying to interrupt you to give more background of the main characters. So we have Blair. She's like Serena's like the it girl, but Blair is like the queen bee, is what they use the terms to describe them in the show. And Blair is like constantly conniving and scheming. La 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 la. She and Chuck Bass are endgame.
Can I interrupt? How old are they supposed to be?
Well, they start off in high school, so it's their
No one's that smart. So
junior-
there you go. Like,
junior.
why does anyone
senior
follow
year
this?
of high school, and then
No.
Junior.
and then it ends up with college, and like
Well, no, that's actually a fun fact in the show where they all dropped out of college after 1 year. But it's something I noticed because it starts junior year, and then the whole season 2 is senior year and getting into college, and then season 3 they do. And then season 4, no one is in college anymore, and no one talks about it.
Oh, it's like you remember in sitcoms when someone's like sibling goes upstairs and never comes back down, and they never talk about them again. It's like that.
Yeah.
College went up the stairs.
Yes.
You know, I just texted Chris one day. I'm like, wait, no one's in college anymore. And we just went through all the characters, and they had different plot points for leaving college. And not all of them did have plot points to leave college. They just stopped going. The writers decided, like, oh, hey, we played this college angle already. I guess it's over.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure that the only characters in the show who could have actually gone to college would have been Dan and Blair. Everyone else is too dumb.
Nate was smart enough.
Oh, Nate, we haven't covered Nate yet. Okay,
So Nate is eyebrows.
Who's Nate?
Nate is eyebrows. To be honest, that's now that I realize what your Nate
You know
is
what
eyebrows.
I'm doing right now? I'm gonna Google Gossip Girl eyebrows.
So that's-
and I'm gonna take a peek
It's
at what's going
Chase
on.
Crawford is Nate.
I'm
Yeah,
not
he's
even gonna tell you right now. First thing that shows up when I Google Gossip Girl eyebrows: Gossip Girl male characters as ranked by eyebrows.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, but real quick, can you give us a quick rundown on that?
Yeah, I
It
want
says
to know.
Nate Archibald, then Chuck Bass, Dan Humphrey, Rufus Humphrey, and then Eric Vander Woodson.
Okay, but so Nate is
Oh.
top, right?
Nate is top, yeah.
Okay,
because
good.
he's-
And then when I press images, it's all girls. Bitch, I want all the eyebrows
No,
from the
just-
show. Oh,
just
hell.
Nate Archibald. He's
It's sad because
he's-
his eyebrow is so hairy, but his name says bald.
so like in the books, actually the three main characters, I have not read the books, but I Wikipedia the shit out of this.
Hell yeah.
Blair, Serena, and Nate are the three main characters of the books, and it's basically just a love triangle between them, but there's really only a brief love triangle between them in like the first season.
Yeah, then they get over it.
Yeah.
And
they
they all
forget.
just pluck each other's eyebrows.
They honestly, they do. So I feel like we've covered the main
I think we
kids.
got to the characters.
I will
Yeah.
drop in and say, still have no idea what this show is about.
Right.
It's-
Well, you're-
It's mostly just like people send in anonymous tips and gossip about what's going on with these characters to Gossip Girl, and Gossip Girl posts them on text blasts and on her blog.
Is
to
there a
fuck with them.
reason why everyone is so obsessed with these like 4 or 5 people? Like, are they famous? Are they rich?
They're rich,
yeah, they're basically celebrities.
except for Dan.
But
Yeah.
is
So
Dan
the-
Gossip Girl?
Yeah, eventually you
Yeah.
find that out. But in the
I mean,
actually, fun
I feel like
fact,
they frame it really obviously.
but in the books, Gossip Girl is never revealed, and Dan is a side character. Actually, the description for Dan in the books is Dan Humphrey is a sexy, skinny, sensitive, caffeine-addicted poet who often sees the darker side of things, a romantic whose imagination runs off wildly at the worst times. He is over-analytical and easily frustrated. Dan was in love with Serena for years before they met and briefly dated, and then he experimented with homosexuality. So, you know.
So, you know, as it goes.
Sounds like he was a better character in the books, to be honest, but whatever.
And I think the last thing that I'll get very upset about, I want to make sure I name all the characters before I go into it this time. So it's the last 2-season plot point is Lily's, who is Serena's mother. Her sister, Carol, just hires a girl to play her daughter to get some money. And that's the main plot point. It goes away eventually. But anyway, the girl she hires' name is Ivy
Oh
Dickens.
no, here we go. It's the
And
Ivy
this is where I
Dickens
get-
rant.
Ivy Winters.
Ivy Dickens.
I'm just gonna. My mental image is going to be the drag queen Ivy Winters. Continue.
Okay.
So the thing about this is
Help.
Ivy Dickens gets brought onto the show for honestly deceitful purposes, but she was a paid actress to go play a role to try to trick like the main cast, right? She does, and then it almost works, but she gets found out. But while this is all happening, she finds out that Serena's grandmother is dying from cancer. And she's the only person who's noticed because she saw a pill bottle. And she actually spends secretly like half a season caring for this dying woman. And eventually, the grandmother does die. And she leaves all of her money to Ivy Dickens.
But not like the fake name of Ivy Dickens. Like she
Right.
knows who Ivy is, but Ivy is like the only person who's been nice to her, even though she's a con artist. So Grandma
Well,
straight up leaves everything to Ivy Dickens.
Yeah, and I think the word con artist is a little harsh because the thing is, she was a poor actress. You know?
No, but what do you think con artists are? Like, poor
yeah, I
actress.
mean, true, but she was hired is the thing. It wasn't her own volition.
She has money now, so she is not a poor actress.
Well, she was hired to do a specific gig, but she was not hired to care for
It's definitely
grandma.
not. It's so
She
exactly. It's
decided.
she's not in the moral right, but I don't think she's completely wrong for taking that job because a job is a job.
The rest of the family doesn't give a shit about dying grandma, and Ivy's like, this woman is like the only person who's been kind to me in my entire life, and she just straight up takes care of her until she dies.
Yeah, because that was another strong plot point of Ivy Dickens is that she had a really shitty family, and she made it very clear that she did not care about the money, and she really liked the main cast because they acted as a real family to her. And she had really strong character development. However, after the grandmother died and she left Ivy all of her money, the entire show just took a shit on Ivy Dickens. And it's such bullshit. So what happens is, for like the rest of the season, it's Lily trying to steal the inheritance back from Ivy. And
Lily is Serena's mom.
Because she's like, oh no, she was an actress. So she doesn't deserve it because she lied to all of us. But the will's just like, no, she left it to this specific person who your grandmother knew was an actress, but showed her kindness when she was dying. And that's just the rest of the show, is them trying to rob her and steal her money. And they eventually turn her into a spiteful person for treating her so poorly. And my thing is, it could have been treated as such a better plot point to everyone in the show.
I'm so mad about Ivy Dickens.
I'm very mad about Ivy Dickens because it could have been a plot point like, oh, like Serena and Lily, you guys can see now that money isn't the most important thing, and that, caring for someone in their life is what's actually important.
So, Taneene, I feel like I need to give some context to this. Is I woke up one day with a 6-paragraph essay from Ryan about the mistreatment of Ivy Dickens in the Gossip Girl series, and I was like, "Are you okay? Do we need to have an intervention? Because the
answer was no.
The answer was no, not okay.
I'm not okay.
Man, do you remember that? You remember? I mean, I used to text you when I was drunk and be like,
yeah.
Wow, I really like Supernatural. And like that would be it. You'd be like, okay, why are you texting me this at like 2 a.m?
No. But then occasionally you get like super mad about something that would happen with Dean and Cass.
Before the word morning gets thrown around too loosely, this is at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Pacific time.
Shh.
Which is 3 hours behind where Chris lives.
Okay.
So
I'm
just putting that out there for like, oh, Ryan wakes up at 6 a.m. and then he starts texting Chris about Gossip Girl. No, I was at work and I'd been seething in this for a while.
Okay, but you were also at work and you wrote me a 6-paragraph essay while you were at work.
I was on break.
Okay. He has a lot of feelings about Ivy Dickens.
I was on a break.
I just want everyone to know that you took your 15-minute break time to write 6 paragraphs about the mistreatment of Ivy Dickens, and that
it's very important.
It's all going on Tumblr. Just so we're clear, it's all getting tagged as like, does anyone still care about Gossip Girl? Because this guy does.
I do a lot.
Yeah.
And
this straight white man is just really upset. Okay.
I don't know where I was. Just Ivy Dickens. The rest of the show, she just gets shit on, and
I think the best part is in the last season they make her character fuck both of the dads.
Yes.
You know what? I just kind of like came back into this conversation, and now I'm frowning, and I wish I hadn't turned my ears on.
So that's a thing that was happening because in the last season, after she's already been fucked over, it was her goal now to take down Lily. So the show's all about takedowns, is the thing.
Yeah, the whole show
Each
is
season,
takedown.
It's a new outsider trying to take down the main characters.
But like all these people are so like rich and white, so it's like, oh,
right.
You're such an outsider. Oh no,
you're just moderately less rich.
Gossip Girl.
So anyway, that's Ivy's main drive for the last season is taking down Lily. And so she tries. In the end, she fucks 2 dads and then gets left in the dirt.
Yep.
And that's the end of her character.
Kind of like the end of the Mac Bangs Dennis's mom episode in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's what I'm using as context for me.
Yeah, boo, that's right. That's right.
Sex with old people.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And the reason I get so upset by this is they spent 5 seasons building up Lily's character from being like a cold, heartless asshole businesswoman and a shitty mother.
Ooh, so like Dennis. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All of
And
this
then-
it's all coming together now.
Yeah.
If I understand it through the context of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I am in this show.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then like halfway up through season 5 is when Lily's character just like, you know what? Let's take all the development you had about being a good mother and a good person and just, throw it out because we don't want that. And so that's what they do because she just...
Much like when Matt gets fat. Okay.
yeah. It's just like that.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and so then they throw out Lily's character, which was a really strong character. So her and Dan's dad dated for a long time, and they were a really good couple.
Lily and Rufus are my favorite, like, Gossip Girl ship, because it's just, I feel like they have this. Rufus is just a super goofy character, and then Lily.
He's a dad.
Because he's a naked mole rat, right?
Yeah, he's
Right.
He's the naked mole rat of the show. He's like his whole character, Taneene, is that he's like this, like, he was this, like, rocker from like the 80s, 70s, something, who knows. And like then he decided to like give up on that because he had these 2 beautiful kids and he just wanted to be like a dad and raise them.
So like Jerry from Parks and Rec. Okay, I'm
He's
understanding.
basically Jerry from Parks and Rec, but hot. He's very Dilfy, to be honest. He's
Ooh, like Hank Moody from Californication.
He actually
Really?
if Jerry from Parks and Rec and then Hank Moody could have a love child, that would be Rufus Humphrey. I know you're trying to figure out how that works, but
No, I know exactly how that works.
does.
Like medically, biologically, yeah, I know.
And then
It makes sense.
so Rufus is just probably like the most like morally upright character in the show, apart from the fact where he like pursues a married woman who's like whatever. But so the married woman is Lily, and then anyway, Lily and Rufus end up getting together, and Lily is very much just like, I am a rich socialite. I don't know what's going on. Everyone else takes things very seriously, and I'm just eye rolling all the time. I have very blonde hair. I have very much eye roll. I like to scoff. I scoff.
She's like the main girl from Weeds, who's always
Oh,
sipping
man,
on
she
drinks
is.
that are always
No, she's the Weeds lady of Gossip Girl. It's
Yeah.
very accurate.
all of her drinks are always empty. Like, girl, like get a refill. Like, why are you always slurping?
Yeah. At one point, she gets house arrested for forging a document, and she's just like online shopping, and she's like, "I'm so sad. I can't go outside." And so Rufus is like, "Hey, babe, it's okay. I'm your trophy husband now. So I'm gonna invite all your friends to like come have this party, so you can wear your house arrest anklet and a nice
Yeah.
dress."
You boys a question on the bar exam.
What?
Don't you remember at the end of Parks and Rec? I'm just trying to overcompensate
No,
for
okay,
the fact
I
that I
haven't-
haven't seen Gossip Girl by just mentioning
No.
every other show.
I know, you're right. You're right, but I haven't watched the last season of Parks and Rec.
I'm sorry. I'm probably gonna have to leave this episode right now.
I'm really sorry. Taneene, it's just I
Taneene,
spent
no.
so much time watching Vampire Diaries, and it's
Don't you want to see how 2017 is imagined in the Parks and Rec world?
to be honest, I do. Now that 2017 is over.
Yeah. You're gonna be yearning for that future.
I know.
I promise.
I'm really sorry.
Norman Tacone is in that season.
Oh,
It's
shit.
great.
Okay. Well, it seems right. Okay. Well, I really want to read a fan fiction.
That's right. The whole point of this.
I have a fan fiction.
Let's get down to business.
And so this fan fiction is short. It's short and sweet. It's not a canon ship, okay? It's actually Ryan's favorite ship, which is Chuck and Dan. And so
Yes.
Chuck and Dan have this really awkward friendship in the show because like Chuck hates Dan, but then kind of like Dan's kind of like a puppy that doesn't understand he's being hated and follows Chuck around, and then Chuck's just
And they
like
very
"Ah."
rarely directly interact in the show also.
But when they
It's always
do
like two
interact,
other people.
it's usually like
It's
big
really
bro
good.
times. And so but just to clarify, in the books, there actually is some insinuation this could be possible because Dan experiments with homosexuality, and then Chuck is bisexual in the books. So, also, I just want you to know that Chuck Bass's character was originally supposed to be named Chip Whiskers. But then they decided they would scrap that for another variation of Woodward and animal name, so he ended up as Chuck Bass instead of Chip Whiskers. But
Dark.
So this fic is called Jello Shots, a Gossip Girl fanfic. The description is Chuck gets Dan drunk thinking it would be fun. Dan, you've got to stop being a snooty Brooklyn kid. Down that green Jello shot right now. I want you to have a rainbow on your tongue when I get back. Dan wasn't given an or else, but he didn't want to find out what Chuck would do. He downed several shots and was becoming slowly trashed when Chuck got back. Okay, let me see your tongue. Dan giggled like a kid before sticking his tongue out. It was mostly a clash of blue and green, but Chuck accepted it. The two continued to knock them back, but Dan did twice as many as Chuck did. Eventually, he couldn't stand. Chuck laughed as he helped Dan to his limo. As he closed the door, Dan flopped into Dan's lap. It says Dan flopped into Dan's lap. Okay.
Same. Yep, I've done that too, yeah.
I love you, Chuck. What?
Can you call him Chip Whiskers?
Yeah.
I love you, Chip Whiskers.
I love you,
Chip Whiskers.
I love you, Chip Whiskers. Dan slurred. Chip Whiskers laughed. He had been drinking, but he always knew his limit. He drank. I need a moment. I need a fucking moment. Okay. He drank just enough. Stop. Okay, I can do this. Fuck you guys. All right. He drank just enough to not be drunk, but one more drink and he would be. And I love it when you are drunk. Dan tried to sit up, but he ended up just wiggling into Chip Whiskers' lap.
Same.
Yeah, girl.
Tacking me home, he murmured as he started to
Tacking
drift.
Tacking me home.
Chip Whiskers laughed again. He loved his drunken little Humphrey. He carried him into his house and flopped him on the bed. Dan would have the worst headache when he woke up. Chip Whiskers took Dan's shoes off, which caused Dan to stir a bit. Chip Whiskers, he explained. I love Chip Whiskers. Chip Whiskers couldn't stop laughing at Dan's ridiculousness. Dan pulled Chip Whiskers to him and held on to him as he fell back asleep. Chip Whiskers allowed him to hold him there before getting up and going to the spare room. He had had fun, but he knew drunken people equals sex, and that drunken people person regrets. Only when he woke up, he found himself in his bed with Dan. Well, hell, Chip Whiskers groaned as he sat up. Dan was still passed out. Chip Whiskers got up and saw he was only in boxers. He lifted the blanket on Dan to reveal he was naked. Lovely. And that's the end. Just lovely.
Yes.
The end.
Lovely.
Yum.
All right. Is everyone ready for mine?
Yeah, but if yours has Chuck in it, you also have to replace.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Whiskers. All right, mine is so the reason I picked mine is because I would start reading and then I would keep reading and I would keep reading and then I'd keep reading and then I'd have to look away, take a breath and keep reading and then the sentence would end because I think this fic is a total of 5 sentences.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain.
I'm really happy about
I'm going to
it.
have to take really deep breaths before I start because I want to do them all in one breath, but I won't be able to.
All right, I believe in you.
All right. I'm like cracking my knuckles of my throat. Okay, let's go.
Throat knuckles.
My throat knuckles. All right. Let me guess. says Chip Whiskers.
I don't know how to feel about this.
I have no idea how any of these people talk, so I'm just making them all sound like assholes.
Please.
Let me guess, says Chip Whiskers, as his eyes slide over Carter's trench coat. You robbed banks. Also, I don't know who Carter is, and I don't think he came up in the
Carter Bazin is
person
like
show.
a weird side character.
Well, shockingly, he's an affluent white person.
He has a gambling problem.
Of course he does.
Okay.
Of course he does.
Anyway, so are you guys ready? I'm going to take a breath now. Carter's 22 now, and he should have graduated from Harvard a month ago, should have had a class ring on his finger and his whole life ahead of him, but he threw that life away a long, long time ago, and it's only now that he's learning. You can go to rehab as often as you like, fuck that secretary, divorce that wife, estrange that child, but once you tune in and drop out, well, there's not much you can't come back from on the Upper East Side, but he isn't ever going to come back from this, cleaning out a bank account and getting on the first plane he could find, and he tried to escape. He did. He put more effort into trying that than he's ever put into anything. All that effort he's held at his core for years, because everything used to come so easy, but he's learned, too, that he can't come back from this, and he still must come back to skyscrapers and gray skies in this place, the coldest place on Earth. One fucking sentence! Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah. It's beautiful. Please don't stop.
No more so than you, says Carter, thinking of numbers dropping to zeros on a screen, of roses on his parents' dining table, of his mother's bank account cleaned out, of Bart Bass's coffin, of no matter how far he runs, it never seems to be far enough.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever, says Blair, a college sophomore, and stops. And Chip Whiskers curls his hand around her wrist. Maybes are for the poor and the stupid bee, and we are neither. Okay, well, damn, Chip Whiskers.
It's right.
You can't buy everything, says Blair, slipping on her Ice Queen mask, because if she knows something, she knows this. Because she's watched her mother try and fail with her first husband, with Blair, and with 100 friends who dropped her when Blair's father left. And Blair has many diamonds, but diamonds are cold and hard and a girl's best friend, or so they say. And Blair can be like a diamond, except she'll never be beautiful enough, except. Blair's hand is in Carter's. She's resplendent in Oscar de la Renta. He's sharp and slick in a Zeno suit and Hermé tie, and he leans into Chip Whiskers. I can't say his name as he passes, whispers, "I'm stealing all your moves, man."
No,
That's amazing. Oh,
Please,
fuck.
says Chuck, his jaw clenched with fury, as if you can pull off orange. Carter winks at him, knowing everything he isn't saying, and Chuck has to force himself to keep his mouth shut as he looks at pale skin on pale skin, as he thinks of beneath where their blood runs blue, where his blood runs hot and red and not half as noble, about how their blood runs blue, the same blue, decades upon decades of blood and money and so much power, and how there's some things with which even Chip motherfucking Whiskers can't compete, shouldn't even try. You're welcome, guys. There's obviously more in that fic, but I've run out.
I don't want you to stop, to be honest. If there's more, like, you gotta go.
Just let it happen.
Yeah.
Here I come. Are you ready?
I'm not.
It's coming
please,
in. You ready for this? Okay. Also, on the last part of this sentence, I was going to say last sentence, but it's one sentence. At the last part of this sentence, it's I think it's in Latin, maybe. So I don't know how to pronounce this very well,
I thought you used to know the Latin,
but I'm not sure if this is Latin. That's why I'm nervous. I'm going to give it a Latin pronunciation. All right. He doesn't say, "Marry me," because he can't bear to hear her say no. No. Doesn't say, "Kiss me," because he knows he'll turn him down with a single glance. Doesn't say anything. Caught outside of their game. A Bulgari diamond in his pocket. Something Audrey wouldn't wear, but that Grace Kelly would kill. A Tiffany ring of titanium and silver for fingers thicker than his own, but Carter isn't allowed to play their game. A game where he isn't holding any cards, and the stakes are higher than he can even begin to imagine. But Carter's a gambler born, and he's lost more than this on a single roll of the dice. A plain ticket or another drink. So he puts his hand on the small of her back, leers at him from across the room because he's got nothing, so much left to lose, because St. Jude's carved Caesar, Plutarch's, Suetonius into his soul, and if anyone knows the true meaning of alia iacta est, it's Carter Bazin. That's one fucking sentence. The Dark Prince, the papers call him. At 25, only half in jest, and Blair turns the page, not moving a single facial muscle, as behind her, Dorota sighs. Oh my god, I seriously can't.
Dorota.
I can't handle any part of this fic because it's 5 sentences and it's so long.
It's amazing.
Oh my god.
It's-
This is the
yeah, it's
best thing
only
I've
one chapter.
ever heard.
I know, I love it. I'm just
It's-
obsessed with
it's-
everything about it.
Really good.
It's really incredible.
It was
Ooh,
like-
no. This was the sentence that got me hooked on this fic because it was in the the intro
Right.
thing. Carter shouldn't have come back, not to see this. The queen and the prince, their eyes only on each other, and he's kissed that sneering mouth, run a hand down that straight white back, but he thought Serena was salvation, his ticket back into everything he's lost, and he does. He loses himself for a time. Blonde hair soft beneath his fingers, and a smile for him, for everyone, and there's the rub, so it doesn't work out, because it never does, because he's a man who keeps secrets, who tells lies, and Serena is beautiful, but she's simple too, and his eyes still stray to a head that should wear a crown, and hands that could have held him down, and he leaves this time knowing that he's going to come back, but he's not running anymore. This is merely a tactical retreat because Carter Bazin is tired of running, and if he can't burn this world, and he can't, he's tried so many times and he's failed, so that his die is cast, his number's up, his hand dealt, and if he can't burn this world, well, then he means to rule it.
Holy shit.
Oh no.
Oh man. Oh, this is my new favorite fic. Sorry, all the other fics. This is amazing.
Sorry, every other fic that ever happened.
This is amazing.
This is.
Oh,
Oh.
so
It's-
angsty.
Fantastic.
It's
Oh,
just-
ooh, are you ready?
no, I'm not.
For another
Keep
sentence?
going,
I'm
please, please.
Okay, also, I just want to, let everyone know that, I'm just going through this right now and reading it, cold.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The next word that comes up is a surprise to me as well.
You're beautiful. Okay, just never stop.
All right, let's go. She stood in Serena's shadow all her life, small and always second best, but it's not her men that make her tall, that make her shine, because queens aren't born, they're made. And Serena never made anything, not in her whole life, but Blair perpetually creates, because if you stand still, you lose, you die, and she can't lose, won't. Her will iron and diamond hard, steel curling up her backbone, her hands as dirty gets, and she stands, now, a queen flanked by her princes, their smiles matching, dark hair, perfect metaphorical knives up their sleeves, Chuck's voice hoarse in her ear, Carter's eyes dark and knowing, and only ever on Chip Whiskers. And if this world will take her as she is, she'll remake it in her own image too. I forgot to call him Chip Whiskers one time. Sorry, guys.
I didn't even fucking notice. This fic is
That
so
is just
good.
awash
Your
in
delivery is
emotion.
so good.
There's so much.
It's my favorite part is whenever I think the sentence is gonna end, it just keeps going.
keeps going. I keep
It
thinking,
just
I'm like,
keeps
oh,
going
this is like a
again.
natural pausing
like-
spot. Nope.
This person is definitely in an intro to poetry class.
Yeah. I feel like I should be snapping every time I talk.
I mean, you should, honestly. This
It's
is
not
a
the first
fucking
time blood has dripped on the penthouse floor. That much is true. Because sometimes Chip Whiskers would rather punch Carter than kiss him. Because they know each other's buttons and how to press them better than they ever have. Because years and years of rivalry aren't wiped away just because now they fuck together, eat together, live together. Because sometimes Chip Whiskers still curls and Carter still says, "Is that honestly all you've got, Whiskers?" But it's never about Blair because she's higher, more than this. And when she comes home to find Carter, I see Chip Whiskers' eye, or the other way around, Chip Whiskers' jaw clenched as he disinfects her Carter's cheekbones split. She just rolls her eyes, walks away because her foes fight, and sometimes they fight each other. But in the end, they aren't even fighting about her. They still fight for her and her alone.
I can't.
Can't feel.
Jesus Christ. All right. Please, is there more?
It's true.
Oh yeah.
How long is this?
It's another. Okay, let's see. There's 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, 4 more gigantic.
I think we have to
sentences.
do it, to be honest.
All right. Any other delivery suggestions?
I mean, can you Shatner it?
Please?
Can I do what?
Can you Shatner it?
Oh, it's like super. Oh.
Or is that gonna make it worse?
You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna Adam West it.
Please.
Yes.
She's so beautiful, and he cursed Nate out for years because Nate is his best friend. Yeah, but he's so blind, lost and caught in the superficial. And the key to unlocking Blair is realizing that everything about her is superficial and nothing is, because he'd rather be dead than be seen in the last season's clothes. But she's got claws of hardened ice, and they only come out if she loves you, if she cares. He thought he was the only one who could see, but then Carter's hands at her throat, hands fisted in Chip Whiskers' hair once, and she doesn't know if he burns with jealousy or if he just burns. Okay, I'm doing another dramatic poetry reading. I just like doing that one. It was more fun.
No, that one was really good. I like the
Okay.
respite into the. But yeah, go back. Okay.
31. Blair kisses Carter and Chip Whiskers in turn. A Tuscan sunset behind her, russet gleaming in all her hair. Identical darkness, identical light, and each of them have a ring, all different, not inscribed. Blair's a diamond, Chuck's engraved with room and numerals. Chuck's gleaming platinum and on a chain on his neck. It doesn't matter where the world doesn't, can't, no, because metal blazes red against their skin. And Chip Whiskers in Carter's throat, Blair's hand in Carter's hair, and the chain ray blazes red too. And the world doesn't know, but it doesn't need to, because they know well enough for everyone.
My heart.
If Blair is beautiful, then so is Carter. Everything reflected back that Chuck has ever loved about his queen. Smart and cunning and oh so deceitful. Doesn't deal in the sort of lies that help you sleep at night, but the kind of lies that Blair tells that destroy walls and work and lives. And if loving Blair was fate, then so is this. Carter their distorted mirror with his dark hair and his wicked smile and his thirst for power. And if they can't have the world, if they can't burn it or remake it, and if it's too small and too tedious and too much at all at once, then they'll tell more of those lies and break down all the walls that they have to, burn all the hearts they can, because if the world isn't good enough for them, if it doesn't buckle beneath their weight, kneel at their feet, recognize them as kings, as a queen, and then if anything they're fought for, if everything they are, they will build their own. Oh my god, this is the
Taneene,
most
I just realized I forgot to tell you, Carter Bazin is played by Sebastian Stan.
No!
Yes!
What?
Yes!
This is even better than I thought it would be! I'm ending it on that note. Nobody gets another piece. Sebastian Stan?
This is how he got his start, was in Gossip Girl.
No!
Not like this.
It's clear that I'm not a Sebastian Stan, but like,
I know. I know.
But also, I think this story where it's like Chuck and Carter and
Blair. Like a weird
Blair.
movie.
I was gonna say, I thought it was gonna be what's her name's character?
Blake
Lively?
Lively? No,
Blake Lively's character.
Leighton Meester.
Leighton Meester, which another character who should have just swapped names with their characters. I mean, other actress. It sounds fake. It sounds worse than Chip Whiskers.
Yeah.
I think what I want to know is what other names were like on the drawing board that they came up with Chip Whiskers as the best option.
To be honest,
Chip Whiskers is the highlight of this.
So, I mean, just some closing thoughts that I have. I mean, discuss that because I need to find this page again. But it's
Right. So,
yeah.
wood thing, animal name. Let's see.
Wood thing,
Split?
animal name.
Splash. Splint Splash.
Splint
That's not an and. The
Splash
second
sounds
one
like
is
a
Splint.
That sounds like a sexy nurse.
Maybe he is.
So
Oh, hi, gentlemen. I'm Splint Splash. I'll wrap up your arm, and I'll get wet doing it. Ah.
So the author of the Gossip Girl novel series, her name is Cecily von Zygasar, which I'm not
No,
pronouncing
even
right.
her name sounds like a joke.
Okay, she's obviously kidding.
she's big kidding. But so she based the whole Gossip Girl universe on things she experienced and stories she heard from other girls at prep school. And so she's like in her 40s now. But the best part of the whole thing is she wrote all of the Gossip Girl novels, and then eventually she wrote one called Psycho Killer in 2011, which was just a slasher parody reworking all of the books that turned Blair and Serena into serial killers.
No,
yes.
Right.
Yes. So she writes, I mean, the first one comes out in 2002, and then 10 years later, she's like, all right, gotta roast my entire fucking series and just make a slasher parody.
I think more people should do that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm for it.
She wrote her own fan fiction of her own series and got it published, and I support it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Is it called fan fiction if you're still a published author?
No, but
yeah, because you can be a fan.
I think
that's a story at that point.
I mean, I have to say I have zero interest really in reading any of the Gossip Girl books except for that one.
I don't think I could handle something else similar to Gossip Girl right now.
Unless I found like a PDF and then replaced all of Chuck's name with Chip Whiskers, then I might read it, all of it.
Can I get the Chrome extension real quick?
Yeah, can I get the just replace? Yeah.
Every mention of Chuck Bass. I get them a lot.
No, I just any Chuck. They should replace the Chip Whiskers.
It's not wrong. Well, anyway, so if you have any thoughts about this episode, if you were the author of the fanfic that Taneene read, and you want to pay her a compliment, you can hit us up on Twitter, respectively.
Yeah. You can come complain or cyberbully me on @spaghetti-or-not. Parentheses, here I come.
Can't forget. You can get me at Ryan Isn't a Nerd, or you can just follow the show. Which you can follow the
show at Shipwrecked Cast.
SHIPWREKT cast.
And that's the only way that you can talk to me if you want to talk to me, because I'm not going to give you guys my Twitter. Sorry.
On that note. Sorry. So, as they say, XOXO.